Alright, so this is the pre-video for this video. I just want to kind of show you the results of the end product of this video ahead of time. I didn't have it printed at the end, so now here it is printed at the very beginning. So what we're doing is we're producing this object from a drawing. Okay? Now, this is 3D printed. Here's a mechanical pencil. Okay, this is a mechanical pencil with 0.5 graphic lead, and you can kind of see the scale of this thing. Okay, it's really small. It's pretty small. Here is a AAA battery next to it. Okay, pretty small. And you can kind of see what I would like to do is push the limitations of things always. So you can see how, like, this little area right here, this little line, see it? How it's loose, is probably the bare limitations of the technology of 2D to 3D print and how small these things can get. So this is using an Elegoo 3D printer, the Elegoo Saturn, not the S variation, but the S and the non-S are about the same thing, other than the bed being a little bit bigger. But if you were just producing small objects, you can get a 3D printer for like $100 from Elegoo, and it still produces the same results. Elegoo printers are amazing. They do not sponsor me, by the way. I would just say that I have 3 of them at work, and I have 1 of them at home, and they all produce super good results at 2K. I couldn't even imagine what they do at 8K, to be honest with you. So I'll just zoom out now and show you the drawing compared to the thing. So this was scanned. I'll show you how to do that in the video and how I produced this from this. So let's move on to the workflow, and I will explain more in the next video. Alright, today we're going to be looking at something a little different. I'm going to be showing you my workflow for those individuals that want to do 3D from 2D. Okay? Why would you want to do that? Well, I released a short in my YouTubes. If you want to see the short of what I'm doing with 3D shapes, you can check that out, then come back. But what I'm going to do is convert this over to a 3D shape that's 3D print ready. Okay? So I need to challenge myself, though, because I know Adobe Illustrator rather well and I know Inkscape rather well. So I also know that not all people know those things. So we're going to use, for the first part of my video, my phone, okay, to do the first half of this. And trust me when I say that I would definitely learn Adobe Illustrator or Inkscape, because this will be a little fussy. Okay, so we're actually going to be using a program called Adobe Capture. So it is free, though. Okay, it is free. It is Adobe, but it is free. So Adobe Capture. So if you can draw, this is awesome. If you can do it in vector lines in Inkscape or Illustrator, that's awesome too. This is the worst case scenario. Let me just state that. This is the worst case scenario. You just have to get it to an SVG. Alright, so I'm going to be using the Take a Picture button in Adobe Capture. I'm in Shapes mode, and I position my camera way up here, okay, and then I zoom in to the shape. Now, notice when I zoom in to a certain aspect, little anomalies appear, like those anomalies. See the little whites and everything else? So we do not want to get too close to it. We want to zoom in, but be kind of far away, and then take a picture. Boop. Okay, so now I got this. Cool. So now I'm going to go to crop and crop out everything I don't need. Okay. Then I'll hit refine, and then I'll go to the eraser tool and erase all these little doodads out there. Erase. Close that out. I'll go to Style, and then I'll hit Smooth. I notice I also have a little anomaly right there. See it? So crop, get that out of there. Okay, Style, Smooth. Boom. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, that's a good shape. Alright, it's interesting. Okay, so this is where it usually freezes. So here's the little arrow tool. Yay, it worked. Okay, cool. So save. Now it's in my shape library. So now what I do is I'm going to Bluetooth it over to a computer that I have Blender on. We're going to be using Blender to take this and make it into a 3D shape. So 3 little dots. And share shape link. Sometimes it's a little fuzzy. Oh, there it is. Bluetooth. And then I just find my computer label. Boom. There it is. Sweet. So now I will go to that computer that has Blender and show you the next step. Okay, so once you're on a computer that has Blender, then we're going to do some Blender stuff. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of all the objects in the scene by just clicking and dragging and deleting. Okay, and then I'm going to go and import my SVG. So it's Scalable Vector Graphic. It went to my Downloads folder after I Bluetoothed it over, and there it is. It's really small. Okay? So click and drag, and then scale that thing up. We'll talk about scale in a minute, but for right now we just want to scale it to the point where we can see it on the video. Okay? Alright, now highlight everything and Shift D. That will duplicate it. And what I want to do is make an outside line, so a base for this to sit on. Okay? I do that by going into Edit Mode, going into Z, which is the top down. I want this outside edge that goes all the way around it, so I'm going to select one inside vertex. Then I'm going to go Select Linked. Okay, that will select all the stuff on the inside. Notice that the outside one is not selected. So now I'm going to hit Delete and Dissolve Vertices. So there we go. Easy as that. So now I have a base. And now I have the detail. Okay, again, worst case scenario. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go back into Object Mode. I'm going to move this out of the way. Delete these little details. I don't need them. Okay, and we're going to go into Object and say Convert to Mesh. Okay, and then I'm going to grab all these and I'm going to convert them all over to Mesh too. Object, Convert. Oops. And if you don't see the option light up, it's because you got something selected. See how now it works? So you might have to select each one of these because it's super fussy. Yep. Mesh. There we go. So they're all meshes. How do I know that? Because I can go to Edit Mode and now they turn into polygons. So let's say, look this one for example. I can go into Edit Mode and I got these. Ooh. Alright, so now go to Face Mode. Click L, we'll highlight the part, and then I'm going to extrude it. So I'm going to extrude the region, extrude it up. Now it's a 3D shape. Okay, so let's go back into Object Mode. Hit N on the keyboard, N is in Nancy, and you're going to find that this thing has a width and height and depth. Okay, so it's really small right now. It's like 8 millimeters. Very small. Okay, so these, we got to do that same thing too. Unfortunately, I don't want to take all day, so I'll just go object join. This will turn them into one giant mesh. And then I go into edit mode, and now it's very easy to go L, 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 L. Okay? And extrude those up. Alright, sweet. So now what we got is two objects. And now I'm going to think about real world size, for example. So let's go to Object, Apply, Rotation, and Scale. This will zero it out. And then I get the opportunity to kind of try to stack these back on top of each other. If you can't do it, it's this mode right here. Toggle X-ray will allow you to realign these back together best you can for right now. Then turn X-ray off because it's kind of annoying sometimes. Also, it's real hard to look at, so here's a way to get rid of that. Go over to the highlight everything, go over to the beach ball, and then hit the minus button to get rid of this really bad material. And repeat that for every part. Just keep deleting. So now I got this. It's a lot easier to look at. Okay, so grab everything, and we're paying attention to this over here. And what I want to do is maybe get it to 20 millimeters in X. See how X is right here? So there we go. Sure, 27 millimeters is fine. Let's maybe tone that down. There we go. Alright, sweet. So right now, 20 millimeters. Sorry, phone kept buzzing. So right now it's one shape, but look at the Z. The Z is 0.45 millimeters. Okay, that's really thin. So what I want to do is go 1 millimeter and 1 millimeter. Okay, that's rather thick, I know, but for what I've noticed, you want something a little sturdy when it comes down to 3D print and with a lot of depth. So this might work out quite well. And I can always go smaller in the end, but at least right now 1 millimeter is pretty thin anyway. You know what I mean? It's pretty thin. So what I'm going to do is take these two and combine them. Grab the bottom one, go to the wrench, and go Boolean, Union, and choose the other curve. Okay? And then go ahead and hit apply. Okay, this should make a shape combined with the two shapes. So there's this shape that I can pull out, and there's the old one that I can get rid of by hitting delete on the keyboard. And there it is. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, just make sure that it actually was Boolean, and you can see there's a slight, teeny tiny thing that's kind of bad. So I'm just going to undo a little bit. Okay, the reason that happened was this wasn't sunken into the mesh good enough, so I had to bring all of it down just a little bit. There we go. Okay, sweet. Now repeat. Curve. Apply. Delete. Okay, so now we got this. So if you zoom in now, you notice that I don't have that line. Okay, just wanted to show you what that looked like. Alright, so file, export, STL. And we'll put this on my desktop and call it scroll. I want selection only. And now what you do is you grab your 3D printer, whatever you're using. I'm using Chitabox for my resin 3D printer. By the way, I would probably choose a resin 3D printer for this workflow, not an FDM. An FDM is not going to allow you to print this small. It is just not going to do it. You'll have to know some nozzle thickness and all kinds of goofy stuff to get it to work. Oh, there's my bat. Oh no, this is a cat skull. Okay, so let's get rid of that. By the way, all my skulls that I've scanned from real 3D skulls are located on firstdensitymaterial.com. You can download any skull that you want. They are officially scanned from real skulls. They're amazing, etc. and so forth. So they're there for you. So file. I'm trying to do more advertising. I'm not good at it. Scrolls. Oh, isn't he cute? He's so cute. So the beauty of these is you do not need supports at all for them. So you can make a whole bunch of these and then quite literally just print them just like this. Okay? So you can just slice that bad boy and then save it. Oops. Slice, save. And that's it. That's a 3D shape. It's going to take very minimal time to do because it doesn't have supports. It's really close on the bed, and they're really easy to scoop off the bed, by the way. But here's a tip: 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters better than most. Okay, so don't go doing try doing the 0.5 millimeter like I did on some like these bug wings. You can do a 0.5 millimeter very easy on other 3D objects, but if they're printed right up close to the bed, it's not going to work quite well. So don't do that. Alright, once you print them out, then you can use them in composition work. And you can make frames, you can do abstract shapes, whatever. Again, if you're unsure of what I'm talking about, check out my shorts on YouTube. So, I hope you enjoyed the workflow that included taking a drawing and turning it into a vector shape, and then taking that vector shape and turning it into a mesh, and then turning it into a 3D printed shape. Enjoy.